in just a moment.
So one of the interesting things about a best of two system is generally 2 games of HotS plus a draft takes around 50 to 55 minutes. So there's like a short break for the casters and stuff. But if a series is a stomp and ends very quickly, how do you do that on the production side? Because if you decide, hey, we're going to try to start as quickly as possible, then you need to tell the teams they need to be ready, 10 to 15 minutes before the hour. But if you want to make sure you have a consistent production schedule, not just for production, but for viewers, you also want to be like, hey, you guys can be here on the hour. It's fine, no matter what. But then you also have weird situations where sometimes you have a 37-minute, Volskaya game, and you're going to end up going past the hour. But, HotS doesn't run on a timer. The games take as long as they take.
Yeah, and that's something that I appreciate from Masters Clash here. In that you have the best of 2 every series, so that makes the amount of time that a series is going to take so much more consistent. If it's a best of 3, I don't know if we're having 2 games, I don't know if we're having 3 games. If you even go to best of 5s or best of 7s, then the amount of range that those series can take, the variance is so incredibly high. I remember, for example, back when I was president of the Gaming and Esports Club at the University of Houston, we had a CSGO tournament, and CSGO is really bad about variable game length. We had a CSGO tournament that went from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. in one day. So the ability of Masters Clash here to some extent guarantee the length of time. We know for a fact that we were going to play exactly 8 games today. Is very much appreciated. It just makes it so much easier for everybody involved. Viewers have a better idea of what's coming up. The production team knows what they're signing up for. The players know what they're signing up for. It just makes everything consistent. And I gotta say, shout out to Masters Clash. The amount of help that they have given as a caster in my first experience here. I got to speak directly to the head of the organization about what I'm doing here. I got to speak to a lot of members of the staff. They provide a lot of assets. Everything that you see up here on the screen is done by the organization. This cool draft screen, everything. They are making my job a lot easier with the settings of the best of 2s with these assets provided. Shout out to Masters Clash.
I don't know if this is a change in the roster or if they just needed a sub, but I don't recognize the name Pablo Vida. That could also just be someone Smurf, of course. But it looks like Breeze actually won't be here for Granit Gaming, and that is a substantial difference. Going from Breeze to literally anyone else can't be anything but a downgrade in the tank slot. And I'm wondering if they're going to feel like they have to roll swap to make up for that, or if it's going to be Unforgiven subbing in his tank.
So, am I understanding the implication here that you are saying that Breeze is literally the best tank player in the world?
Breeze was definitely the best tank player in EU HGC on average. JPL was arguably on a better team, which is why his team performed better. And you could call them comparable. Like JPL was better at Stitches Interior, Breeze was better at Noob and Diablo. But JPL's not here. So, and neither is Tist, and neither is Sign. Right, like there was definitely a point where Breeze was in contention for top tank player in the world and certainly best tank player in Europe. And he's like, since coming back, he has done some things that other tank players just I haven't seen them doing. Like he had a massive vision outplay on a Medivh last year in I believe it was another Masters Clash qualifier, and he just does stuff that other people aren't doing. So yeah, it is going to be Unforgiven on tank though. That is the Joe pick. Okay, so yeah, it's a downgrade. Like I've never even seen Unforgiven play, and I guarantee you it's a downgrade. Breeze is that good, guys. He's just that good.
Okay, a strong vote of confidence for Granit's future chances with Breeze, but let's see what they can do with the substitution at this point with Unforgiven here in our final series of the day. This is series number 4, Inting For Ruby versus Granit Gaming, game 1 of 2. Leoric going to be taken away from Granit Gaming here, banned out by Inting For Ruby, who opened with Maev Uther. What's going on there? That seems like a bit of an odd pairing to me.
I mean, I think that's going to be main tank Uther, right? With Flex Maev, essentially. So they're going to play double support, but they're going to play an Oct version of double support where rather than having a Flex double support, they have the double support either as tank or off lane. And that allows them to have an enormous amount of macro while still having the team fight benefits of double support.
And that is called it.
Yep,
yeah. So there's the double support. And I just want to make sure everybody picked up on this in the audience. You said that would be an Oct version of the double support. Oct, of course, is referring to Octalysis.
Yes. So for all of 2017, the meta in Heroes of the Storm was double support. Everyone played double support, and it was tank, 2 supports, a carry, and an offlane. And that was the basic comp that existed. Supports got nerfed across the board by 5% in late 2017, and
except lately.
Except lately, and all their macro was removed. Many supports besides Rhaegar used to have wave clear. Octalysis invented a version of double support, though, where so they couldn't get out macro. They would draft stuff like main tank Zool with 2 supports, or they would draft. They would just find a way to distribute the roles necessary for a comp across multiple heroes. So they would still end up with having 2 supports, because arguably supports are the single strongest thing in team fights. And you can even see here, this is offlane Stitches. So this is main tank Uther, offlane Stitches, Flex Maev, hyper carry Gul'dan, so that's almost certainly going to be Q build, and then healer Anduin. Like, it's really important that you understand your role in a comp when you're playing these types of comps where different heroes can slot into the comp in different ways.
And so it also is worth pointing out, with all this lovely context and backstory and information that you've given us regarding the Octalysis playstyle of having double supports and of putting them in the tank slots, that the head of operations there, the mastermind behind Octalysis, Justing, is still involved today. He is a CCL analyst in the modern day, and he's still out there making content for Heroes Hearth, for Wisdom. I saw a video, I didn't watch it, but I watched the thumbnail earlier today of Rhaegar main tank. I don't know what he's doing over there, but Justing, known for running anything and everything as a main tank, and you still love that he is involved with the scene into the modern day. We've now completed the load screen, and we are going on to game 1 of our final series of the day, Inting For Ruby versus Granit Gaming. And speaking of Inting For Ruby, their roster for today will be Pablo on the Maev, Fish playing Uther, Hat on Gul'dan, Nox playing Anduin, and Gunnar rounding it out on Stitches.
On the right-hand side, we have Granit Gaming. We have Smexy on Karazim, Wubby on Yrel, a specialty of his, actually. Unforgiven, the sub on Johanna, Make on Junkrat, and Azerite on Sylvanas. So that is going to be Q Sylvanas.
That's actually Azerite on Johanna, to be clear.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, they were very clumped up.
They were very clumped up. Okay, so Unforgiven. Okay, so it is Azerite taking over the tank slot, and Unforgiven on Sylvanas. That is going to be, so they're going to be playing for dive here. You don't really play for frontline with Might of the Banshee Queen Sylvanas. You play to dive in. I don't know if diving in is something you can do. And we're getting a little bit of cheese here. Fun fact, an Iron Fist Karazim, for the duration of his E, which increases his attack speed, basically does as much damage as a Greymane, purely in terms of autos. So that's a nice little cheese you can do if you have a Sylvanas and a Karazim. You can just go kill a tower together with just the 2 of you, and Sylvanas disables it, and you're a little Greymane for the 4 seconds that you have fists running.
The damage certainly is huge on that siege, as is evident in a very quickly taken bottom tower. And now already we see Granit Gaming pressuring out this initial Siege Giant camp. The millisecond that it spawns, Make looking to interfere with Hat's rotation, almost pushing Gul'dan back onto the structure. Meanwhile, on the side of Inting For Ruby, not contesting these Siege Giants right off the bat, but rather taking their own Bruiser camp at the moment. So no contest for these camps just quite yet, but here's the gank onto Gunnar. Will get body blocked into oblivion by Granit Gaming. Gunnar's going to go down, and that's first blood of the series. Not even 90 seconds into the game, and now Granit Gaming backing off and doing their own Bruiser camp here before setting up for the push with Unforgiven on that Sylvanas here in the bottom lane on these Siege Giant camps. Of course, a Bruiser camp is knocking on their front door in mid lane. They're also going to get on that as well.
Gunners knew that they were on bottom siege. They very clearly telegraphed that they were going to go do it, and Inting For Ruby's opted to get Bruisers instead. So I don't know why Gunnar was that far up in the lane. You can't be far up as an immobile hero like Stitches. One of the reasons Stitches is not a super meta offlaner, despite the fact
Wubby got hooked in by Gunner right here as he's getting chased down. There's Fish. Doesn't look like he has Hammer of Justice. Actually, Hammer of Justicing the Earth ally.
No. That's so unfortunate.
Quite unfortunate there as Make getting a little bit of bullying on Hat here. Not really missing any HP, but getting so much damage onto Hat as we see everybody crowding around in this mid lane here. Pablo going in towards Smexy. Azurite's looking okay. Hook does not land from Gunner. And a slight lead in favor of Granit Gaming so far. Playing this early game rather well, getting some chip damage on these towers, and every bit of siege you get in the early game just magnifies the effect of this first objective as we see Gunner getting boxed in by 4 members of Granit Gaming. Absolutely run down with the mobility from Sylvanas and Karazim, able to keep up with him even through the leap of faith. Now Wubby camping over the wall, as Cav said. Wubby, an early specialist and pioneer of Urel as a hero. Expect to see something special this game. Hat stepping up forward. Hat is, despite being the hyper carry for a double support comp, in fact, corruption build this game on Gul'dan.
E-build, it hurts. It hurts me. I don't know why he's E-build. Like, you can play for E-build off of the Maeb pull, and they try for that one shot, but I don't think that's realistic into most of these heroes. And if you don't hit it, like, the fight's over. You're not going to win that fight because you no longer have significant damage without having gone Q build.
E-build, a more burst-oriented late game build than its competitors. Q build for Gul'dan, focusing on that Fell Flame, specifically allows for a lot of damage sustain trading output early on. Pablo getting some damage onto Smexy here in this mid lane, but it's nothing more than just some damage. And now 1 gem away on the side of Granit Gaming from getting the turn, and Wubby jumps in and will get stunned, but he's going to waltz right on out of there after missing a little bit of HP. And this is an early web weaver for Granit Gaming.
Yeah, the only event, like, Inting For Ruby has a lot of wave clear, so this isn't too concerning. Early web weavers don't tend to do much. However, that bottom wall is completely dead, and it's really bad for Stitches. And in fact, it's so bad for Stitches that I think that they should just swap him top lane where that wall is still alive, because a low mobility off lane without a wall is just invited to be killed over and over and over again.
And now here we have a little bit of a scuffle back and forth, a little bit of exchanging damage, and we see Granit Gaming just getting pressure on this bot lane with the Sylvanas. They already know that this tower is down, and this is going to be a fast first fort in favor of Granit. Mid lane getting cleared out right away. Bot fort will go down. Wubby not really in danger at the moment, looking for the flank. Stepping out of vision for a moment here. And now a rotation out of bot lane toward mid.
And you can see Smexy even warding that rotation. Like, if this were 10 and that rotation had gotten made by Gunner, they could have killed him with 7-sided. They won't be able to kill him.
Gunner getting knocked away from his gate by Wubby, and now the body block placed positionally perfect by Wubby. Gunner just has no tools to escape this, and he will go down. Excellent vision and execution on the gank by Granit Gaming. Sylvanas, however, gets stunned out of her Haunting Wave. Unforgiven will not be able to jump out of there, but maybe he doesn't need to. Nah, he'll go down. Hat getting chased down by Azurite. Hat will be able to walk on out of there, and that turns into a 1-for-1. Very unfortunate timing for Sylvanas right there with getting stunned out of the Haunting Wave, and Smexy scouting out that Inting For Ruby is taking out this Bruiser Cap, but not going to do too much about it. Will walk away. Make concussion mining away from Fish in the top lane. And that's a good time to get that response kill by Inting For Ruby, but still a strong position for Granit Gaming moving forward.
It's worth noting that this punish is a result of the fact that Wubby is actually the person who played the most offlane Stitches in HGC. So you can feel like Wubby is 100% on comments being like, he can't do this, he can't do this, he can't do this. I know he can't do this because I wouldn't be doing this. And my experience playing the hero. And that's where those massive punishes are coming from. It's just we talked about it earlier, the depth of experience from this roster.
Here we see Wubby wings out, jumps onto that top wave. Pablo looking to dump those 31 gems, barely not getting them in, thanks to a little Luigi's Mansion flashlight action coming in from CM Azurite. And now Hat is stepping up very aggressively onto the enemy side of the map. Does necessitate a leap of faith from his Anduin. Unforgiven stepping up forward here, getting a bit of damage. Pablo knocked into Granit Gaming, forced to receive that Divine Shield. There's the Light Bomb, only hits Johanna with the Iron Skin. Riptire onto Gunner on the other hand, and there's a disc onto Wubby.
This is Bile Stitches, by the way, too, so there's actually a lot of zoning potential here. It might be hard for... Nope.
Had getting absolutely deleted, stepping up a little bit too far forward with such a squishy, immobile character like Gul'dan. And it is a 1-4-1 at the moment. 7-sided strike from Smexy, getting a little bit more damage, buying themselves some stasis, but it remains a 1-for-1 in the current moment. 4 kills to 2 in favor of Granit Gaming. Wubby dumping 18 gems in that bottom lane. And if I'm Inting For Ruby, I'm thinking, man, we got to get some of these gems in sooner or later. We have 81 total, 43 on the Uther. Make getting pressured out now. Oh, unable to jump over the wall with Concussion Mine thanks to Umbral Bind by Pablo, but it's not enough to secure the kill, only enough to get Make a little bit low. And now we see more pressure onto Wubby. Will get horrified, but towards safety, plus movement speed will buy him the time to escape. Pablo taking some chip damage, drops the containment disc for the safety. So many hits, so few deaths. Back and forth right here. Blue side Web Weavers for Inting For Ruby.
Massive punish there. Also worth noting in this double support that Johanna did in fact go for that anti-heal at 7. Not a meta talent, but this is the one circumstance where it actually can occasionally get value when you're into these massive double support comps. And Junkrat saving Azerite with that boop. He barely got caught by the Umbral Bind on the gate, got pulled back out, but then everyone got booped away, and he's now fine. Riptire are going to be used pretty much just for wave clear, and this turn-in should not get too much value considering the catapults are already dealing with bot lane, and they did not manage to pressure mid or top very hard.
And now there's Wubby on the flank, knocking Gunner and Fish toward his teammates. But it's just going to be a knock and nothing more. Like a ding-dong ditch. There's CM Smexy pausing the game here. 3-2-3 has been called.
Considering how poorly the early game went, I'm amazed Inting For Ruby's is anywhere near even in experience. And their comp, I mean, double support is something that wants to scale. It's better the later you go. It's better the more 5v5s there are. So maintaining parity up to this point, as long as they can keep their lanes cleared safely and they play a little bit more around vision, they should be in reasonably good shape to potentially take a full 5v5 fight. The big things they're going to have to look out for are that Wailing Arrow from Sylvanas. Sylvanas silencing 4 or 5 people. Double support's good because you have a lot of buttons you can push. If you're silenced, you can't push buttons, as it turns out.
Ooh, Cav, you can flex a little bit of your HotS historian knowledge right here. We got a couple people asking, what does 3-2-3 mean?
So 3-2-3 is, I think it actually started in StarCraft, didn't it, at one point? But there was a pause during a competitive game, and one of the players accidentally hit enter and typed 3-2-3 in chat when they were using 3-2-3 to like cycle through their hotkeys for what they were looking at. And it was on stream. It was on the stream, so it just became a meme. Now people say 3-2-3 whenever a pause happens.
I still maintain that the elite Heroes of the Storm meme remains Lagef. Good old Zuna.
Yeah, Zuna died to a top fort on Sky Temple as Zeratul because he didn't blink out in time because he had blink, but he was trying to blink after the shot went off, but before it hit him, and he blinked after the shot went off, and it hit him. and he just typed in chat Lagef.
Yep, just Google Zuna Lagef, that's Z-U-N-A-L-A-G-F, with a space in the middle there. One of the premier moments of early Heroes of the Storm history right there, as we see some pushing going on for Granit Gaming, who are about to get their second Web Weavers of the game here, looking to pick up some more forts, open up the map a bit to try and get some late game win conditions here.
Wow, Wubby is just like hopping in and being totally fine. I don't know if he's going to get punished at all this game. Of course, he does have his R available, so whenever you have your R available as your rel, you can be far more aggressive. And look at that, he's warding for the Junkrat. Junkrat is actually going to get bottom keep here by himself if they don't respond to that. But they can't respond to it because Wubby's going to be like, nope.
And there is a trap in this bush as well, stalling Fish's rotation. Ripper Air able to get Make some time to attempt to rotate, but Make's in deep. Horrified does not land, but he's body blocked in by Gunner, and at this point Make will go down. Trying to get that bot keep, in fact, got a lot of damage on it, and this Web Weaver is still alive, will die before being able to 100% finish it off. It was a valiant effort, but even then, with the attention drawn towards bot lane, able to get a lot of push in the other lanes. Smexy taking out the entirety of the top gate. Top fort obviously going down if they were able to go on the top gate, and mid fort as well. And this is a very open map with multiple potential win conditions now opened up in favor of Granit Gaming. And if I'm them, I'm okay with that happening in exchange for my Junkrat's life.
Granit is guaranteed to get 16 here if they just choose to play passively. You can even make an argument that Inting For Ruby should not clear waves. They should let the waves push into them so that Granit Gaming cannot get 16 and also cannot get their next turn in. But it looks like we're not going to do that. We're just going to cap the camps. We're just going to clear the waves. That's going to put Inting For Ruby's in a position where they're going to be forced to fight over turn in 16 to 15 or let Granit Gaming have their third turn in a row. Or not in a row, but third turn in of the game.
And now at this point, Inting For Ruby, unable to step up too close to these waves here, really just forced to turtle back for a moment. Down level 16, just waiting. And again, I'm thinking to myself, man, they gotta get these gems in sooner or later, sitting on 93 at the moment. So not only is that a just lack of tempo, a lack of pushing, but it's a significant risk whenever Inting For Ruby's dies that they have to pick up these gems. Pablo in particular holding 52 gems as Gunner fishes for a hook over the wall and does not connect. Azurite dumping 23. A mere 11 gems to go. This will be one short down here from the double turn in. Yet again, one off. Make can choose to finish it if he so desires, as we see Wubby starting the boss over here in the top.
Make's turning in too, so they're going to know for a fact that this boss is happening. They can actually get 16 off this top wave, and Granit's comp does not do boss that quickly, especially since they are all split. So they're essentially just baiting it, and you can see Gunner with W over the wall looking for that vision. Now they see the boss pit. This is going to be the 5v5, but they're backing up because they know if they don't win that fight, they'll lose. But I actually think that's wrong. I think they're 16. Finally, they have the double support comp. They should be trying to 5v5 over the boss, and are they going to?
Fish taking a lot of damage as he face checks right there, and the ults are just being traded at the moment. Horrified going out onto Smexy, pops that 7-sided strike to buy himself some time. Stunned immediately out of it. It's 1 for 1, but Uther getting that trait value. 2 for 1 in favor of Inting For Ruby. Pablo not quite going to go down as Gunner's hook fails to connect, dropping 23 gems in the process. It's now 2 for 2 between these two teams, and blue side retreating. They've got web weavers in all three lanes. No boss achieved for either team, but still so much pressure.
I mean, Sylvanas and Junkrat are going to push mid. Bot is already dead. Sylvanas with trait should be able to get that. Yeah, you can see it shutting off right there. They should be able to get at least 2, preferably maybe even all 3 keeps. Wubby just playing a very distracting Urel right there. Gets his ult off, so he's absolutely going to be fine. Did they rotate up? And if they so, yeah, Ripper Air, Joe, they're going over the wall to make this happen, right? They're going to be able to start focusing on top keep too if they want to. He's actually
I think they're just going to go ahead and yeah, this mid game.
They're just killing this little sidewall and then Ripper airing out. Okay, so now that was bad for Inting For Rubies, but it could have been far worse. And Granit Gaming didn't want to have turn in for a while. So now Inting For Rubies needs to get together as 5, shove their lanes out, and play for their own turn in, where hopefully they can clear up the forts, and that will help them with some catapult pressure on the map.
Fish popped Benediction already. Ooh, the Hammer of Justice gets wasted on the Iron Skin. As Smexy deep in that backline, Chastise interrupting Wubby's jump, but Fish dropping very, very low over there. Finished off by the Wailing Arrow from Unforgiven. And that's not the first time we've seen a support running away in mid lane get finished off by an arrow ult, as we see Gunner getting chased down, finished off by Unforgiven. Riptire hitting all 3 remaining members of Inting For Ruby. Hat now trying to get out of here, but Smexy, the chase continues. Haunting wave forward from Unforgiven, and Gul'dan will go down. Hat dies. Nox dropping low. Pablo is all the way in the Hall of Storms, but with the rest of Inting For Ruby dead, this is surely game 1 for Granit Gaming.
Yeah, this is why a lot of people don't like double support comps. The reality of every double support comp ever is you have to play close enough that everyone can assist, but not so close that you get hit by area damage. And in that case, they were so spread apart that was essentially 2 separate fights altogether.
Oh, just dude, it feels like everything has been two separate fights, man. I put the camera in one place and then they fight over there, and then I move the camera and then they fight over there, and then they die and die and die and die. It's a struggle, but we have our late game scoreboard popping up right here. Let's go ahead and show that after a strong performance from Granit Gaming. And Granit Gaming here, the kill disparity may not look as large as some of our previous games here, 10-5, but you have to remember that they're against a double support comp. If you think about that game in terms of the superiority that they held, the advantages that they held through controlling the push pressure, through getting those advantages early, keep in mind that I believe Inting For Ruby got the first 1 or 2 kills of the game. So after that point, they only got 3 or 4 kills for the rest of the game after like a minute in going into this here. The push pressure immense. What's up?
I'll put that differently. You don't need as many kills if you actually get things out of your kills. Every kill that Granit got, they got a tower, they got a gate, they got a turn-in, they got chip damage. They always got something as a result of getting a kill. A lot of games we've seen tonight, people would kill someone and then they would get nothing out of it, and they would just have to back and refill their health bar and come back into the brawl. Also, I'm still really sad Gul'dan went evil. Just if you're hyper carry Gul'dan, you must go Q build. That's the way it works, guys. That's the way it works.
Yeah, it is a little bit interesting to invest in a late game burst build when you are playing for the double support. I'm not sure what exactly went into that. There may be an element that I'm missing, but a strong showing from Granit Gaming here. And no matter what, we have one more game here today, folks. This is the last game of the stream, and we are taking it to Battlefield of Eternity as we see Inting For Ruby picking the second map of here, taking us to Battlefield and giving first pick over to Granit Gaming.
I'll be really curious to see if Inting For Ruby goes for double support again. BOE is arguably the easiest map to run double support on because it's just 2 lanes. There's not a lot of waves that need to be cleared. There's a lot of heroes that work both as race heroes and as hyper carries in the event that you do double support, so you don't have to sacrifice any objective power in order to do it. So I'll be curious to see if they're happy with their performance and they feel confident they're going to do it again, or if they decide to pursue another strategy.
All right, well, we're wasting no time whatsoever, taking it into the draft on Battlefield of Eternity here for game number 2. Granit Gaming wanting to finish this out and get themselves some more points. Before we get too into the draft, let me go ahead and look at those standings again. Granit Gaming, a little too far out of reach to make it into the top 3, even with a 2-0 here tonight, but it would do a lot to get them certainly much closer in, bumping them potentially up from 5 points to 8. Now getting back into the draft on Battlefield of Eternity, Granit Gaming opens it up with a Lucio ban.
I feel like Lucio is a hero that's incredibly just annoying to play against. It makes it really hard to secure kills with the speed boost and with both high 5 and sound barrier depending on the draft. So I like that ban, and they're banning the Uther. Even though it didn't actually perform that well last game, it looks like they're taking it very seriously in terms of eliminating that option from Inting For Ruby.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you should never really play down to your competition. You can certainly hide strats. You can certainly... even sandbagging, I think, is not quite the same thing as playing down. But you take your opponents seriously at all times, for sure. With the double support choke right here, actually coming out from Granit Gaming, taking away 2 heroes of the same role, both Lucio and Uther. I wonder if we're going to see any early healer priority continuing that healer choke, potentially in the 2-3 after this Hanzo pick. It is certainly a possibility.
Inting For Rubies could could int the draft right here by picking 2 supports and telegraphing the double support, but also taking a lot of good support options away from Granit Gaming. However, Smexy plays pretty much everything, so I don't know if that would work out for them. Oh, and it's not going to be that. It's going to be Lunara Hogger. That's a very solid opening with Blaze Band. Hogger, a very strong offlaner. And there's a lot of spins. There's a lot of places you can get some really good spin angles on Battlefield of Eternity.
For sure, but I feel like that's also true of any map that doesn't rhyme with Shmanamura. Alright. As we now see, after the Lunara Hogger pickup from Inting for Ruby, we respond with the Muradin Kharazim, and so much forward aggression right there from Muradin Kharazim.
I think they banned the Rhaegar here after that, because you pick up the Kharazim. Kharazim really doesn't like being attack speed slowed, so Rhaegar with his new totem build does that really nicely, and that'll be 4 supports taken or banned, and it should really limit what Inting for Rubies can pick up in that slot.
And it's actually going to be a Sylvanas ban coming out from Inting for Ruby in the face of that situation right there. And I just want to see the rest of the aggression from the side of Granit Gaming. At this point, game, I'm going to get there sooner or later. With your ability with Muradin Kharazim to just stun anybody whenever you want and you hit the instant follow-up, Hanzo certainly has the range and speed to also take advantage of that, as we see Garrosh, a notable wall tank, banned out as well. I want to say that's the first kind of priority we've seen at all, any kind of popularity, the first pick or ban of Garrosh of the entire day.
That's an interesting ban because Muradin has a favorable tank matchup into Garrosh, as long as he knows how to play it correctly. And Garrosh really doesn't like things that have above normal attack ranges like Hanzo. And Kharazim with 7-sided can actually punish a Garrosh who lets himself get isolated. So I'm really surprised to see that Garrosh ban. Maybe Fish is known for being a Garrosh player, and that's like a scouting ban as opposed to a matchup ban. But if we're going to see Vala Rhaegar picked up for Inting for Rubies, that is going to... I don't think, unless they pick Greymane or Raynor here, I don't think Granit Gaming can pick up a comp that outraces that, especially if Vala goes Q build. But they can easily, pick up something that wins the team fight. So they're going to be Maiev Sonya. And... unfortunately, there's not a good tank into Maiev. You don't counter Maiev with tanks. So they're going to be put into something bad here pretty much no matter what.
I know in the past you talked about Johanna and Maiev. You feel that that's still a bad matchup?
You have to be able to blind cleave. So you have to be able to have enough knowledge of how Maiev wants to play the game that you can understand when she's going to blind cleave and then blind it. And there were only 2 Johanna players in all of HCC who did that consistently, so it's very difficult. They were Tist and JPL. So theoretically it's a good matchup, but practically it's very difficult.
I will say also, just looking at the draft for Granit Gaming, I can understand the desire to take Uther and Garrosh out of the game when you go for such a melee-heavy draft. They have 4 melee characters and a Hanzo. That's going to cause really a lot of clumping, and of course you don't want to play that into Maiev, but they have the Maiev, and you don't want to play that into Garrosh. Everybody just gets taunted. It can be a bad time. Now, loading in to our very final game of today, game number 8, last game of series number 4 here between Inting for Ruby and Granit Gaming. Granit Gaming looking to pick up the 2-0.
There's a cool synergy here that we haven't talked about between Maiev and Kharazim. Maiev, with Disc, her level 10, not Cage, got buffed substantially, so it also silences now, which made it a little bit more meta. But also the ability to completely take a body off the board actually makes 7-sided more likely to go all onto the same target. So either you're clumped and Maev's getting resets, or your 1 or 2 people are isolated to prevent the Maiev resets, but then Maiev discs one and you get the 7-sided strike onto just the one target. It makes it really difficult to play around. You gotta come together and then spread apart, and come together and spread apart, all based around those cooldowns of the enemy team, which you have to be constantly tracking. It puts a heavy burden of execution on Inting for Rubies not to die to that combo.
Alrighty, well, coming into this very final game of the day, we have Azerite playing Muradin, Wubby on the Sonya, Unforgiven on Hanzo, Smexy on Kharazim, and to round it out, Make on Maiev.
On the left-hand side, we have Inting for Rubies. We have Fish 777 on Tyrael, Pablo Vitor on Lunara, Hat on Vala, Nox on Rhaegar, and up in the top lane, we will have Gunner on Hogger.
Both teams trading a few hits right there. I wanted to show you Hogger so that he could be on screen when you were saying it, but it looks like we get some action as that's a 4-man Umbral bind. Hat dropping immediately. Wow, Make with the well-timed flank, punishing a bit of an undisciplined clump, a bit of an unforced error there from Inting for Ruby. Well done with the first blood, and the aggression already evident. Unforgiven now stepping forward for a bit of aggressive trading at the moment. The kill actually happened so fast that they will not be able to secure camp off of it. Nox getting yanked back and not going to get killed. Stormbolt does not connect from Azerite right then and there.
I want to emphasize that Maev has a bunch of talents that increase her Q damage. So that's the least damage Maev Q will do this whole game if he keeps getting resets like that. And it still got everyone to like
Augur's rotating down.
Oh, are they gonna? They're gonna force a 5v4 over this shrine.
It's actually a 4-on-4 because Hat yet again getting melted to start out the fight right there, and now Gunnar on the scene as well. Fish going in, gonna get some of that trait value. It's definitely dodged by Make, avoiding it with the Shade of Vengeance. So much killing. Smexy is next to go down. Then it's gonna be Lunara and Nox. Azerite. What's going on, dude? 7 kills. We're a minute into the game. We're like 90 seconds into the game, and there's been 7 kills. Red side winning the 4v5 out of melting Hat to start out the game, and already both siege camps taken. Cav, I think that I can say that this is the strongest opening for a team I have ever seen in Battlefield of Eternity in my entire history of playing Heroes of the Storm.
This is really bad. And Battlefield of Eternity is not really a map where you can get macro advantages, right? You can't. If you get an early advantage, it's all because of kills usually, and that's too many kills. That's. They're a full level ahead, and Battlefield of Eternity is also a map where it's really difficult to close the experience gap without getting kills. So Inting For Ruby needs to essentially hit level 4, get the bruisers out, go into the objective with a good timing, and look for a fight. And I don't know.
Gunner's getting rotated on by the members of Granit Gaming, who drop Gunner very low. Smexy chasing after him, and that's a 7th kill in 2.5 minutes for Granit Gaming. And they simultaneously take the Bruiser camp. I have never seen a team dominate Battlefield of Eternity to the absolute extent that we see Granit Gaming right here, right now. Smexy approaching Fish 777 here in this bottom lane. Fish 777 as he has requested in actuality. Here in this bot lane push, Inting For Ruby now pushing while they maintain equal talent tiers. There's Make with the pull on Hat. Not going to be able to get any follow-up from Azerite thanks to some minions placed in the way. Gunner stunning Wubby on the top side.
This feels so bad. I don't know what you do in this position, to be honest. Like, you're so far behind, you have to look for kills, but your lanes are being pressured, your team is split. Really good spin here, actually, from Hogger. That's going to do a lot of zoning without taking too much damage. They're actually eating a lot of damage from it, along with the Immortal. Maybe they can get halftime here? No, because they were too split. The Granite managed to get halftime. They have to fight this. They don't win the race, and they can't afford to give the Immortal.
This just is a brief window.
Damned if you do, if you're damned if you don't. But like.
Brief window before level 7 here for Inting For Ruby, but you see the discipline from Granit Gaming calmly walking away, securing that level 7 advantage before stepping back up for the race. They're going to go ahead and finish this no problem. Easy first Immortal for Granit Gaming. 7 advantage still secure. Going in on Hat, who gets Umbral bound, and the vault is down for Hat as we see yet another death there. Granit Gaming pushing on to Fish as 5, following up on the sword. Fish is going to survive as Smexy maybe getting a little too overconfident here, but he will be okay. Not going to go quite down just yet. Some damage, some dueling here, actually not too much happening in that top lane. And now this is going to be an early, strong push for the members of Granit Gaming. However, they do not have Smexy with them as he is zoned out. No mana, no HP after that tower dive.
They really needed that Smexy kill. In fact, I think it would have been correct for one person to try to even int for it. Just because trading 1-for-1 when you're this far down in experience is a massive boon for you because of the way the comeback mechanic in HotS works. And they're going to save the fort, which is not too bad.
Oh my god, Pablo Vitter taking big damage in that trade from Unforgiven as we see the 2 versus 1 onto Gunnar in the top lane. Gunnar spinning away, Smexy just being an absolute nuisance, chasing after him like a gnat. But with 4 members of Inting For Ruby in this bot lane, they're playing out of the shrine. Smexy on the rotate. Azerite knows that it's time to back off, however, they know when to hold him and when to fold him. They're going to give up that bot siege camp in the moment. Make now looking for the reset.
There's a realistic chance that Granite will just play for 10 here without being too aggressive. They'll get it and then force like on bottom fort or something, and then they'll either get bottom fort or they'll get 10. Either one would be pretty reasonable, I think. But
Pablo Vitter is so pushed up, gets hit by the Storm Bolt, and I'm not understanding that decision as Lunara to step that far up onto the gate, and now Wubby and Unforgiven securing top siege camp at the same time. Level 10 advantage looming for Granit Gaming. 9 kills in 6 minutes, absolutely dominating with the pace yet again. Hat getting dived on by Azerite. There's the cleanse, but it's a little too early from Nox, and Hat will go down. 7-sided strike, absolutely chunking Fish, not able to quite finish him off though, and simultaneously pushing down both forts so early on. And if they can get some of these forts down, the keep pressure soon is going to be huge from Granit Gaming, and Granit Gaming putting on a show so far.
Oh, this is so hard to watch. Because of that kill, there's now a realistic chance that Granite Gaming will get halftime before Inting For Ruby even gets 10. And once you've already won halftime, it doesn't matter if the other team has better race. Like, you're guaranteed to win the Immortal if they don't fight. So Inting For Ruby needs to get 10 and then force a fight. Maybe they don't even get 10. Like, they're actually...
Oh, here's the arrow, does hit onto Fish. Hogger unstoppable, but just taking so much damage in the meantime off of this invade disc. Oh, Azerite actually storm bolting a little too early, trying to get Hat out of it, but it's still a double kill regardless, as 10 now finally has been achieved a little bit too late for Inting For Ruby. And at this point, Inting For Ruby not even doing a single point of damage onto the Immortal of Granit Gaming. Granit Gaming going to take this Immortal bot lane.
That's a keep. Like a full shield Immortal like that is pretty much guaranteed to get a keep, unless any Rubies can fight past and get kills. They do have the Hortipult. They do have, like, they should be here. They need to be here as 5. But Smexy already anchoring that flank Azerite just above, anchoring the choke to make sure that they
Gunnar
don't get
taking a lot of damage here. Is going to be able to get the Ancestral and spin out and be okay. Azerite now actually the one retreating, will be chased away. He's going to be fine. Not too much mobility, able to get him out of there, as we see Smexy on the tower dive.
Yeah, this is the thing that keeps happening. They get baited into chasing, and then they do get 2 kills though.
Yeah,
finally,
it's 2 for 1 in favor of Inting For Ruby. Azerite running away now as both members of Granit Gaming forced to use their ults in an attempt to save Azerite. But remember, there is an Immortal punishing this entire time, as it's actually Rehgar who goes down in this exchange off of the rotation by Wubby, and the leap very well timed, very big. This isn't quite going to get the keep for Granit Gaming, but still a seemingly insurmountable level of momentum for Granit Gaming heading into the mid-late game.
That's huge that they actually saved the keep. I think if Granit had just pushed his 5 with that and played more of a poke game with the Hanzo, they actually would have gotten the keep. But they wanted to be even more aggressive and look for multiple kills so that they could eventually even end the game with it. But instead, they don't get the keep, and Inting For Ruby actually catches up by nearly a full level that they were down.
It feels like a level of Korean aggression and willingness to end the game early, I would say.
Oh yeah, they're very much focused on the skirmish. They're very much focused on finding these little numbers advantages and just going all in on that kill all at the same time. Because sometimes you have a window that's like 2 seconds wide where you're like, this is a 2v1. And then if you can get a kill in that 2 seconds, nice dodge of the stun by Make right there.
Make able to avoid it, as we see a simultaneous Bruiser and Siege Camp capture for Granit Gaming. Now looking to pressure onto this top keep. They will have level 13 advantage for a significant amount of time at this point. Still halfway there from 12 to 13 for Inting For Ruby.
And they're going to be able to get 13 here. Like, those 2 kills gave them the opportunity to go into an objective phase.
Wait, hold on. Pablo, you can't step out that far. Pablo, able to leap over and actually avoid the CC, but it's still not enough. Smexy with the forward rotation, always willing to dive. Sorry, the forward mobility. Just, Pablo with a bit of an overstep, not expecting the insane level of aggression that we've seen right here. And that is kill number 15 in 10 minutes. A steady pace of 3 kills every 2 minutes, or 1.5 kills per minute right here. And this opens up yet another uncontested Immortal race from the side of Granit Gaming. Azerite zoning on the side.
Yeah, and that's right. Like, Murden always wants to have a wall to jump over, and he actually there has 2 walls he can jump over, because he can go up and jump down, or he can go down and jump up, and either way, he'll be completely split. So that's a really good thing to do as Murden, interfering with those rotations. And again, Granite Gaming's just going to be like, oh, well, we won halftime, so you have to fight us, but that means you have to hang around another Immortal, and we're just going to shove the side lanes and get 16, and then we'll come fight you. Just wait there. We'll be right with you.
Granit Gaming having a significant lead in Immortal Health and XP. They are sitting pretty as we see some damage going out onto Gunnar right here. Fish hopping in, trying to interfere with things with the Holy Ground. That's going to be a Dragon's Arrow, stunning out Lunara. Sanctification barely hits in time to save Pablo's life. Huge Sanctification, but Gunnar absolutely melting in the bottom side of that fight. Make moving forward. The chase does not stop. Disc actually connects onto Fish 777 right there. The follow-up from Azerite with the Stormbolt plus the Umbral Bind. It's a double kill for Granit Gaming.
That should be game, right? Like, they're going to get the Immortal. The Immortal's going to push on to top keep, I guess.
It will go top, yes.
Yeah, which has a wall still, but...
They're going to have the simultaneous bot pressure as well with the Bruisers. I'm a little bit ahead of the Immortal.
Yeah, I don't think they can hold this at this point. Sanct will barely be up in time. Ancestral actually won't be up, I don't think, when the fight breaks out around keep. They may have to set... Oh, they're actually...
Oh, double stun by Azerite right there on Nox, and Pablo gonna jump out, though. Not too much happening.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think this is desperate ground. I think they have to fight past and look for kills.
Gunnar.
They did that and didn't get one, so...
Wow, 3-man leap from Wubby. Nox and Gunnar are both down. Fish is next. Hat gets disked over the gate, and that's surely going to be kill number 4. Pablo, kill number 5, leaping away. Not kill number 5 just quite yet. Make wanted it, though. And at this point, this Immortal's got too much HP. The advantage is just too big. This is clearly game number 2 in favor of Granit Gaming. And Cav, do you see it? They can't get any more kills, Cav.
No, they can't.
They've got the blackjack here in game number 2.
Stop.
Hit the card. Get the blackjack. Get the blackjack.
It's a moral victory. Oh, the Sanct actually saving Granite Gaming from getting an additional kill, so they get to end on exactly 21 kills for, like, what, the 3rd game today?
What a game, dude. What was that? How many blackjacks by the winning team did we see tonight? Absolutely insane. The pressure from Granit Gaming, just enormous. We saw it just from as soon as the game started, when Make hit that 4-man Umbral Bind out of the bush 30 seconds into the game. That felt like a tone setter. If game 1 wasn't a tone setter already, that 4-man Umbral Bind into the first blood on Hat felt like a tone setter. And then I'm going to pull up the lobby right here, and then you go straight from getting that 30-second kill into winning the 4v5 on bottom siege camp, while Wubby solos top siege camp by also one-shotting Hat at the start. Just ridiculous. Absolutely insane. I have never seen a team dominate Battlefield to the extent that Granit Gaming did. I know that Granit Gaming does not have the highest point in the standings. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up right here so we can take a look at it. As we see, Granit Gaming not quite updated just yet in the standings. They will have 8 points once this is completely up to date with this victory just now. Granit Gaming is in number 4, but I honestly feel like, seeing what they were able to do here, every team has to at least give a heavy amount of respect and consideration to this team right here.
I think, too, there's an element here that needs to be addressed, which is that most people probably aren't comfortable playing into really good Maev players. Maev, with some minor exceptions, has gotten nothing but buffs since the end of HGC 2018. And Maev was first pick, first ban material at that point in the game. And she's, again, has not been anything but buffed since then. We haven't seen her as much in CCL because a lot of the best Maev players in CCL are EU. And playing Maev on ping actually reduces her damage significantly. But look at that. Like, that's a convincing case for Maeb just being completely broken, because you accidentally clump at all, and 4-man pull, one person's guaranteed to die. Like, it's insane.
Absolutely nutty gameplay here tonight. It has been just an exciting 8 games of Masters Clash gameplay here today. What a series by Granit Gaming to close it out, showing up in dominating fashion without Breeze. Keep in mind, no Breeze.
This isn't even their final form.
This isn't even their final form, chat. Granit Gaming, sure to be a team that teams have to think about and have to worry about here in this series. At this point, I am going to start wrapping it up after all these games here today. I just want to say thank you for Masters Clash to reaching out to me about casting these series. This has been a blast. It is a blessing to be able to do this here today. Thank you for all the support with the assets, with just getting everything set up here, with the communication. This has been amazing. I look forward to doing it again tomorrow, the weekend after that, as much as I can. Thank you to Cav here for coming in and providing the insight and just being a sounding board for everything that we're talking about here today. Appreciate you, bud.
No, thanks for having me. Hopefully we can do it again next weekend. It'd be super fun. And thanks, chat, for watching. There'd be no point in doing this if it weren't for you guys.
Indeed. And so, for my friend CavalierGuest right here, I just want to say, Cav does stream. He does have a Discord that I think is one of the best places to discuss the game Heroes of the Storm in the modern day. That is his Discord, the Nexus Schoolhouse. I'm going to go ahead and drop a link to CavalierGuest's Twitch account right there in my chat. It's exactly as it sounds, the word Cavalier and Guest. Also follow him on Twitter. He is one of the most brilliant minds in the game and always has been. I fully credit Cav, this person we're talking with here today, for turning me from just like an SL player into someone who kind of gets it as far as this game goes. Okay, absolutely amazing stuff. Thank you again, Cav. And I hope that anybody who's enjoyed the stream here today will go ahead and partake in your community as well.
Thank you for that, Mockery. I appreciate it. And hopefully, your community continues to enjoy your one-tricking tracer.
Off, Cav. Alrighty. I'm going to see you guys here for the casting tomorrow. Again, we're going to have the Crushinator for our first 2 series of tomorrow. There are 4 series total, 2 games each, 8 games. I really wanted to make sure I didn't mess up the hand math when I was doing that right there. 8 games. I'm going to go ahead and find a new home for you guys in a raid here soon.